Hey guys, I've been wanting to make this video for a while. As you guys know, I've been on a health journey this last year. I've been talking a lot about it, and it's actually gone way beyond just this one year. It's been years in the making, just learning and educating. This last year is the year I've started implementing what I've learned. And what's bringing this on is that I see a lot of my friends posting about losing weight, and I think that's fantastic. You know, you're taking control of your life, you're getting control of your health, and that's wonderful. But then I see people restricting their calories and people restricting their carbs, and I know it doesn't work. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to just share a little bit about what I learned and let you guys decide for yourself. So why is calorie and carb restricting so dangerous? A lot of people call it portion control. It's dangerous. So it turns your body into a fat storer. Sorry, I've got a little text. It turns your body into a fat storing machine. The reason for this is that you restrict your carbs. First of all, why are carbohydrates so important? Your brain runs primarily off of glucose. That is its brain fuel, that is its food. And you get glucose from the carbohydrates you eat. And so if you restrict your carbohydrates, by the way, this isn't just your brain, every cell in your body runs off of the glucose you get from carbs. So, and as well as calories. Calories are your energy for the day that helps you keep going. So if you restrict the calories, you restrict the carbs, you're putting your body into the state of starvation. You know, there's the 1,200 calorie and the 1,600 calorie diets. That's not enough for a child. In fact, if there's a group of people that are eating less than 2,100 calories a day, that group of people is considered to be in a state of famine. You shouldn't be eating less than 2,100 calories a day, because your body just can't run off of that. So what happens is you restrict and you restrict and you restrict, and your body is saying, oh my gosh, I'm starving, and it says, get the calories into me. It sends you to a dense calorie source, which ends up being junk food. And you binge and you binge and you binge, and then you feel awful, and you say, I'm so undisciplined, you feel awful about what you did, and unfortunately that either leads to you going on a cycle of restricting again, and then binging out again, or, sorry, I'm talking really fast, or you end up developing an eating disorder like bulimia, anorexia, and overall it's just training your body to store the fat. It doesn't know if it's getting a feast or a famine that day, so it just tacks the fat on, so your body doesn't let you starve itself. Okay, I took some notes. So some of the other downfalls of these low-calorie, low-carb diets is you end up getting really bad breath, you get bad skin, you get low energy for sure, and you get really depressed because of your low energy, because your brain is starving. You waste muscle, and it makes you very binge-prone. You get these cravings that you wouldn't get if you provided a steady supply of glucose to your brain. So what I've been doing, I've never been full vegan. I respect vegans a lot, but what I've been doing is I've been on a very low animal product and high carb, high fruit diet. Well, it's not really a diet, it's more like a lifestyle change for me. Like I said, this is my lunch. It was half of a watermelon and a full pineapple. Still working on it. The pineapple's very acidic, so it's kind of hard on my tongue. But the watermelon's very sweet. Sorry. Okay, so a good example of high carb fruits are bananas for sure, dates. I usually have date or banana smoothies. I like medjool dates. That's another side note, but watermelon's great. It's also high in water, which is awesome. And I eat a lot of rice. I used to eat a lot of potatoes. not been eating as many potatoes lately. I eat a lot of pasta. I eat a lot of pasta mainly because Joe eats a lot of pasta, but I love pasta too. And just make sure to get the water in, keep the sodium low, and it's been amazing. It's amazing. I'll tell you some of the results of that near the end of the video. So you're getting all these carbs into your body. You're not craving things. You're not binging out on things. You're eating as much as you want, and sorry, I keep getting dings from my phone. It's my mommy. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for as far as the diet works. So I have a lot of people coming up to me and saying, well, what about diabetes? What about people with diabetes? Or they say, I have diabetes, I couldn't possibly go on this high carb thing you're talking about. Okay, so I had to do a lot of research on this, not a lot. I found a lot of research by just doing a little bit of digging, which tells you something. Because I didn't understand it at first either. But now, as it was explained to me over doing my research, it makes a lot of sense. So there's actually been a lot of studies done. There's this cardiologist in Houston, Texas, called Baxter Montgomery, and he prescribes to his diabetes patients, his type 2 diabetes patients, a high-carb, low-fat vegan diet. He gets all that animal product, all the animal fat out of their diets, all that stuff that promotes toxicity inside of your body and promotes disease. He gets all of that out, and he tells them to eat lots of fruit and lots of high carb, rice, potatoes, pasta kind of things. And they come back with it. Pardon me. Within a matter of days, they don't have to take their insulin anymore. They lose, between 30 to 50 pounds within the matter of months. And most patients that he's had, I think it was actually all the patients that he's tried this on, or he's had try this, have reversed their diabetes, their type 2 diabetes, within like a matter of months, 2 months at most, I suppose. Another doctor, Dr. Neil Bernard, who I've been really interested in lately, I've been following him a lot, he points out that there are 2 separate studies that have been done, government funded, where the American Diabetes Association diet was put on a group of people, and they were supposed to do this diet for a group, like a period of time. I know one of them was for 30 days, I don't know the other one. And during that same amount of time, there was a separate group that were put on a high-carb, low-fat vegan diet. And with what the studies found was that the American Diabetes Association diet, which recommends low carbs, low fat, and, if you need to lose weight, then cut calories, that kind of thing, they had a significant slow in the rate of their diabetes. At the end, it only got a little bit worse, which is, it's great. But then they looked at the people who were doing the vegan diet, and hands down, they were just doing so much better. I think 100% of them were able to reverse their diabetes and start healing. So why does this happen? I know, I feel like I'm giving a lecture right now. I kind of am. Okay, so where am I? Okay, so diabetes is caused by too much sugar in the blood. So the old solution is, well, then you don't eat sugar. The problem is actually the fat. At least with type 2 diabetes, the fat gets into the cells that cause insulin resistance. And insulin, if you don't know, it's this hormone that acts like a key to release sugar out into the blood and into the muscles to provide the movement. Like I said, everything runs on glucose. So what you do is you restrict the fat in your diet. You have a low-fat diet. And if you have a low-fat diet, then those cells are able to function properly, and the sugar is not an issue. The carbs are not an issue anymore. With type 1 diabetes, you have dead insulin cells, and this high-carb, low-fat vegan diet can help manage that significantly. Research shows, though, that type 1 diabetes is one of the main causes for type 1 diabetes are proteins in dairy products. So your body considers those proteins to be foreign objects, and it makes antibodies against it. But these antibodies then go and destroy the insulin cells as well, and so that's what causes the dead insulin cells. And during this same study that's been going on, they found that after you've breastfed your child, if they are not introduced to non-human milk after they're done breastfeeding, then they have much less of a chance of developing type 1 diabetes. And then just one more doctor I wanted to point out, Dr. Greger. He said after 2 weeks, there was a group of people who were put on this high-carb, low-fat vegan diet, and he said half the group didn't need insulin anymore, and the other half only needed half the dose. So I think that's just really cool. I was going to talk about PCOS too, because I have a lot of friends that are dealing with that or know someone that's dealing with that, but I'll have to save that for another video if you guys want it, because this video is running kind of long already. Okay, so protein myths. People always say, well, where do you get your protein? You're not getting enough protein. That is a complete myth. I don't know where that started. I think it's like, the paleo diet and the people that are promoting all these high protein, high fat, low carb diets may be a part of, I don't know. That sounds a little conspiracy-esque, but anyway, long story short, it is a myth. We get way too much protein in our diet as Westerners, whether you are vegan, vegetarian, or total meat eaters. So proteins are made of 20 amino acids, 8 of which are not found in the body. And those 8, I think except for maybe 1, I'll have to check on that, you can get from plant foods. So the World Health Organization actually said that men and women only need 5% of their daily calories to come from protein, and pregnant women 6%. So in fruit, most fruits you'll have between 5 to 10% of their makeup be protein. And with this amount, if you're just eating fruit in a day, which hardly anyone does, but even if you're just eating fruit all day, you'll get way more protein than you need. That's equivalent to about 42 grams a day is what they recommend. Meat eaters get way more than this, but like I said, so do vegans and vegetarians. Problem with animal proteins is that they're linked to a bunch of big diseases like osteoporosis and diabetes and all those big diseases out there. So I don't want to spend too much time on the downfalls of meat and dairy. I've already kind of pointed them out. They're high fat, high in saturated fat. There is a lot of cruelty that goes into a lot of these big meat and dairy farms and industries. I'm not going to, elaborate on that because I know it makes a lot of people kind of bummed out. I come from a family where it's kind of like, well, this was just me growing up. I knew about these videos that people would make about, the secrets of the meat and dairy industry, and they'd show like all these animals getting tortured. In my mind, I think I kind of just made up the justification of, well, it probably only happens in a few places where the laws aren't as strict, and so I don't think that animals are really treated that way in a typical meat and dairy industry or factory or farm. I don't know. But as I did research, as I tried looking for non-biased sources, or statistics from the actual meat and dairy industry versus people who are like trying to uncover them, I tried to find a lot of information from a lot of different sources, and pretty much everything I dug up says, yeah, animals are not treated very kindly because there's not a lot of people regulating it. I'm not one of those people that think it's wrong to kill animals, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But you've got to understand that you are ending a life, and it's not something you should take lightly, and they should definitely not be treated cruelly or be tortured before they die. They shouldn't have a slow death. there's just a lot of really not happy things going on with the animals in the meat and dairy industry and in the egg industry. So along with it's health related, it's environment related. There's just so much environmental damage being done because of the excess of agriculture that we're doing. When I say agriculture, I mean, of course, with the animals. It's excessive how much we are putting into meat and dairy and all this stuff, and it's hurting the environment. And I think that's it. Environment, cruelty, health, avoiding animal products as much as you can is probably just best overall. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit more right now about my own little journey. I came to find this by studying the Word of Wisdom, actually. I have a lot of people who are going to watch this video are LDS, Latter-day Saints, from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they know what the Word of Wisdom is. For those of you who don't know, it's more or less a health code that people of my religion try to follow. And in it, I'll just read a little snippet here. It says, "Yea, flesh also of beasts and of fowls of the air, I, the Lord, have ordained for the use of man, and with thanksgiving. Nevertheless, they are to be used sparingly. And it is pleasing unto me that they should not be used only in times of winter or of cold or famine." So to me, when I read that, I thought, well, wait a second. I've heard that all my life, but how many people are actually doing that? We as Westerners consume a ton of meat. I think growing up, I had meat at least once a day, if not 3 times a day. I had it in my sandwiches. I had it in my lunches at school. I think every option for a school lunch had meat in it. And dinner was always meat-based. The only time I can think there wasn't meat-based things were breakfast. And even then, bacon, sausage. So we get a lot of meat as Westerners, and I'm not sure how many people actually realize that that is not something we need to be doing. We need to be doing it sparingly. And sparingly can mean different things to different people. To some people it's like 1 or 2 times a week. To me, it means more like 2 or 3 times a month, if not a year. A year might be pushing it, but I think at least 2 or 3 times a month. That's what sparingly means to me. And in the times of winter or of cold or a famine, to me that communicates a few different things. I think part of that was just the refrigeration situation going on during the 1800s when this was given, obviously to avoid disease and stuff like that. But I also think it has to do with, when like I said, there's a lot of factors, but I think the main thing that stuck out to me is you're not supposed to use meat, you're not supposed to consume meat unless it's something that you really need, unless it's, you're in a cold or you're in a famine type of situation where it's become a need. It's not a want, it's a need. So that's what it communicates to me. The reason I haven't cut out animal products completely is because in another part of the Doctrine and Covenants, it's this book where the Word of Wisdom comes from, that I believe is scripture, modern scripture. It says, "And whoso forbiddeth to abstain from meats, that man should not eat the same, is not ordained of God. For behold, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the air, and that which cometh of the earth, is ordained for the use of man, for food and for raiment, that he might have in abundance." And then down it says, "And woe be unto man that sheddeth blood, and that wasteth flesh, and hath no need." So, right off the bat, I kind of, in my own mind, translated that to mean you shouldn't be eating meat unless you really need to. And really, with all the proteins and nutrition that you get from plant products, you shouldn't have to really eat meat that often anyway, because you can get everything you need pretty much, from plant products. So that started me off on this little situation, this lifestyle change, along with everything I've learned in taking classes for dental hygiene, but the same classes that you take to get into dental hygiene, they make you take to do nursing and stuff like that, and it's basically just learning about your body. I took anatomy 1 and 2, I took organic chemistry, which helped a ton. It's really cool to see like exactly how things work in your body chemically, like what things you put in your body interact with the chemicals that are already there. It's really cool. But I feel like this is the best way to eat and to live, and I think it's the way that is ordained of God. The reason it's I feel it's so healing, and it seems to reverse all these illnesses and diseases that we haven't been able to find cures for lately, or at all, is because this is the way God has intended for us to eat. Not vegan, I don't think that, but limit the animal products, limit the fat, take advantage of this yummy fruit and the vegetables and all the grains that we have. It's really, really cool that we can have access to all this stuff. And I think that if you really want to lose weight, if you really want to take advantage of your health, this is the way to go. Just a little side note, salads are not a dinner food. They're a great side, but salads do not have enough calories or carbs in your body, and most of what fills you up are the fatty dressings, or if you put like eggs or meat in it, which you know how I feel about that. I know with me being on this diet, I've lost, I think at my heaviest I was 165, and I got down to 135 before I got pregnant, so I've lost 30 pounds. I've been depressed for years. I am no longer depressed, and that is so big for me. I know it sounds really corny right now, but I get a little emotional talking about it. It's just that relief that I've been praying for years, and I finally get to experience it. So I don't have a eating disorder anymore. I don't feel sad anymore. There's just so many benefits that come from living and eating this way. So, if nothing else, if you think, okay, well, that's for her, it's not for me, that's fine. I mean, we're all people. But I truly see the good in eating and living this way. And I'm sorry this video ran a little long. But thank you for watching. And let me know if you want me to make other videos kind of like this. Probably a lot shorter. But yeah, I think that's it. Have a good day.